Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to be looking at using custom fields within Sage 50 accounts. My name's Laura and I'm a learning facilitator here at Sage, and I'm going to be hosting the webinar today. I've also got Michael and Abby on hand in the background as well, just to answer any questions that you may have as well along the way. So the session should take around about 20 minutes today, so you might get a little bit of time back at the end as well, just depending on how many questions we've got there. So before we get started, just some housekeeping rules. So your mic will be muted automatically, but you'll see there is a little question icon on the toolbar where you can submit any questions that you've got for either Michael or Abby there. So just make sure that you pop them into there if you do have any. And as it's a quick learn session, it is more demonstration based, but I will be including the slides in the handout section. Just there are some links at the end which you might find useful. So if you do want to download those, make sure that you do that during this session. And there's also a printer friendly version as well if you do want to print those out to make any notes. So today I'll be giving an introduction to using custom fields within your Sage 50 account software. Following that, I'll go through a demonstration within the program and I'll show you where you can customize these and what you might typically use them for as well. And then I'll also provide some useful links to guides on our help center as well. So if you'd like to further your knowledge around applying those to your documents, those might be useful too. And then, as I say, at the end, we'll get through those questions as well there. So custom fields allow you to capture additional information beyond the standard fields provided by the software, just giving an extra level of analysis. Field labels can be configured, making them more relevant just to the needs of your business. And you can customize your data, apply your filter and search through your data, as well as running reports based on the information, or send it to Excel. The custom fields are available within the customers and suppliers module. It's available within products and services, although custom fields are not available in this area if you're using the essentials level of the software. It's also available in invoices and quotations, within projects and sales orders and purchase orders if you're using the professional level of the software. So what I'll do is I'll pop into my system and we can have a look at where you can find the custom fields within the areas and also how you can customize them as well. So we'll have a look at customers first of all. So if I click on customers on the left-hand side of my Sage 50 accounts, and I'm just going to click on a customer, I'm going to double click on it just so it opens up that customer record. And if we navigate to the defaults tab, just on the left-hand side within the record, we can see here we've got our custom fields. So the custom fields are set by default to analysis 1 to 6 here, but these can be renamed to something more specific for your company needs. So they could be used for anything such as recording information against the customer record or analysing the data in a specific way, such as the type of customer or their trade or their retail. But you can see here within the customers, you've got 6 different analysis fields that you can customise here. But what we'll do is I'll run through a quick tour of the other areas that you can use the custom fields in as well, just so you can see that. So we know we've got it in customers. We've also got it available in quotations. So if I click on quotations on the left-hand side, and I'm just going to double click on a quotation to open it. Within the quotations, it's under the order tab on the left-hand side. And then just down on the bottom left-hand side here, we've got our custom fields. Within this area, you've got 3 levels of analysis that you can pop into here and customize. If I go to invoice and credits, I'm just going to double click on an invoice to open one up. And again, it's under the order tab, just on the left-hand side there. And within here, just the same, you've got 3 analysis that you can use in the custom fields in here. So you could use these for marketing questions such as where did you hear about us? Was it online, word of mouth? So that sort of thing. It's also available in sales orders and purchase orders if you are using the professional level of the software. So if I just go into sales orders, double click on a sales order. And again, on the order tab on the left-hand side, I'm just going to click on that. And again, custom fields, we've got 3 in this area as well. And that's just the same for purchase orders. So if I go to purchase orders on the left-hand side, double click on a purchase order, go to the orders tab, And again, we've got it down here on the left-hand side there, custom fields. It's also available in your suppliers. So if we click on suppliers and just double click on supplier, this one's in defaults, just the same as customers, that was in defaults as well. And you've got 6 levels of analysis that you can customize within suppliers on there. And if you are using the CIS module for subcontractors, if I go to subcontractors on the left-hand side and just double click on a subcontractor, just the same under defaults again, and you've got the 6 levels of analysis and the custom fields there as well. You also have it within products and services. Just click on products and services on the left-hand side. I'm just going to double click on a product and open that up. And this one's under the web tab on the left-hand side. So the web tab's not available on the essentials level of the software. So if you can't see the web tab in yours, it may be that you're using the essentials level there. But you've got custom fields. These are named category A, B, and C within your product record. And then also you have it within projects. So if I click on projects on the left-hand side, if you're using projects, double click on that. And this one is under the analysis tab there. And you've got the 3 to use for your custom fields in there. So we'll have a look at how you can change the name and customize these fields. So if I close out of those windows, now we know where they are in the actual modules themselves on there. If you click on settings at the very top, and then we're going to go to configuration, which is just the first option. And it brings up a message just to say that it's going to close all open windows and you'll lose any unsaved data. So just if you're in the middle of creating an invoice or something like that, it would just close that window on there. So yes, I want to continue. And it'll open up a window which is just opened on my other screen, so I'll pull that over. So this is called the configuration editor. And you can see here you've got different tabs along the top. So the obvious option is going to be custom fields on here. So if I click on custom fields, you can see in here we have our customer record, supplier, departments, quotations, sales orders and invoices, and purchase orders. So we can customize these from this window here. For products, if you click on the products tab, you have your custom fields just within the products tab on there. You can customize those there. And projects is just under the projects, project costing tab there. You've got your 3 analysis fields here. Another quick tip as well, just whenever you're in the program, wherever you see this little help icon, just within any area of the program, if you click on that, what it'll do is it'll open up a little help center for you around anything or wherever you are in the program. So I'm in the configuration editor, so it's opened up the help center on the configuration editor for me. So if I scroll down on here, it'll give you the option. So we can see custom fields. If I click on that, it'll expand that. It'll give me more information on the analysis fields within the customer record, supplier record. So it's all just within there. So if you did want to have a look at that, that's quite a handy tip as well. You can also open it in your browser from there too. But I'll just close that for now. So if we go back to custom fields, and we're just going to look at changing one of the custom fields. So we're going to have a look at changing it to customer type on here. So I'm just going to highlight that and delete that out of there. So these are limited to 10 characters. So if I try to type in customer type, I can't type any further than that. It is limited to those 10 characters. So I'm going to abbreviate it and put in cust type on there. And then I'm just going to save that. Just click OK at the bottom, which will save that for me. If I go back into customers, and I'm just going to double click just on the top one there. And I'm going to open up the record. I'm just going to click on the defaults tab. And you can see now my analysis 1 has been changed to cust type. So I can put in my customer type on there. So if I wanted to say that this customer is a trade customer, I could then enter that in here. And just save it and then close it. You can also make batch changes as well. So say I had multiple customers that I wanted to change. So I know that I'll just close that, just double clicked on it. If I wanted to change a few of them to say that they were trade customers, I wanted to make changes to all these customers. The batch changes option at the top, if I click on that, now that's not available in Essentials, but I'll talk more about that in just a moment there. If I go to the defaults tab, what this does is the batch changes opens up a window which just gives you sort of a blank canvas to make changes to all the records that you've highlighted there for certain areas. So parts of it that are greyed out, like I can't change the account on there for it, the VAT number, I can't change those sort of things. But if I go to default and say I know that all these customers need to be trade, I can type trade into there and I can click save. And what that'll do is it'll give me a message just to say you've chosen to make changes to multiple records. Do you want to save those changes? I'm just going to say yes to that and close it. So I've highlighted these as trade customers now. What you could also do is pop in a column along here. So if you right click anywhere along the top of here, you can select what you would like to see. If I scroll down to the bottom, keep going right down to the bottom, you'll see you've got our analysis tabs on here. The first one though, analysis 1, is no longer called analysis 1 because we've changed that to customer type. So if I click on that, it's now going to give me an extra column. And we can see that the customers that I've highlighted, I've changed those to trade. They've all been amended to trade on there. If you don't have the batch changes option on there, you can import changes on there. So I'll just show you where you can do that as well. If you go to File, just in the very top left-hand corner, and if you click on Import, and what this will do is, just again, that message, just to say it's going to close the windows, just going to say yes to that. It'll open up the import wizard. From here, you can get to the import templates for Sage. So if I just click on where it says here, it'll open this up for me. These are our import templates. Customer is just here, so I'm just going to double click on that just to show you it. But you can import the details in here. So say you are using Essentials and you can't use batch changes, you need to amend all of this information. As long as you put in the account reference for that customer that you're using on there, that's the only mandatory field that you would need to fill in on this one. You can then fill in, we've got the first three analysis columns here. So you could pop in the details in there. I know we did change it obviously to customer type. This is just the import template, so it won't pull it through onto the template, but we know that analysis field 1 is the customer type on there. So you can pop it into there. 4, 5, and 6 analysis fields are just at the end. I'll just drag them along to show you. So if you did want to utilize and use all of them, the rest of them are just along here. I'll scroll along. You can see we've got analysis 4, 5, and 6 just at the end there. And it's they're just at the end, they're not next to each other simply just because of the field mappings in the background telling Sage where to put the information in the program. So if you are using Essentials, that's a good way around that if you can't use the batch changes. But what I would say is before you import anything or make any batch changes, just take a backup of your data. Then you can't sort of do anything wrong with it there. I'm just going to close out of those. We'll cancel that. So we're not looking to sort of import anything on there. So as I say, you can add in a column which gives you the details of what you're changing on there. So that's our analysis 1. If you then wanted to filter on that information, you could pop a filter on there for it. So if I click on filter, just at the top there, I'm just going to clear the form on there. And we can apply a filter to it. So we've now got if our customers are trade, if they're retail on there, if they're cash, we can apply a filter if you want to, say, run a report for that information or send that information to Excel. So in the drop-down box under Join, we could select Where. And in the field box on there, I'm going to just hit C on my keyboard, which will just take me through all of them. They're in alphanumeric order on there to cust type, so that's our analysis 1 that we've changed. And then I'm going to say is equal to, and then I'm going to say trade. Now it's not case sensitive this, you can see I've typed it in with a lowercase t. It does need to be spelt correctly though. So if you've spelt trade incorrectly on something on there or on here, it's not going to find that. But if I click apply to that and close it, we can see that it's pulled through all of my trade customers on here. We can see there's a filter applied as well. We've got 22 of the 42 records on there. But then I could run a report just for this information here. So if I just wanted to run a customer report of just my trade customers, I can then go to reports at the top. And in my favorites list already, I've got my customer list in here. So I'm just going to preview that. I'm just going to leave the criteria just as it is on there. just for the purpose of the demonstration, just to show you, but I'll just zoom in a bit on there for you so you can see that. And it just gives me a list of my customers, just my trade customers, if you needed to print that off there. You can also send the data to Excel as well. So we've narrowed that data down on there just by clicking on Data to Excel at the top. So if I click on that just to show you, a little think about it, and then we've got the data in Excel. So it's just our trade customers there. So it's just a good way of being able to sort of narrow down your data in the background. Just close out with that, and we'll run through another demonstration on there just for customizing them. So if we go back in, I'm just going to cancel that filter just by clicking on Remove Filter there. What that does is just brings everything back for me. We'll pop another one on. So if I go back to Settings at the top, and we're going to click on Configuration. Bring that window back over. And say I want to put in, I'll just delete out what we've got on there. We want to say who the account manager is for the customers on there. So I'm just going to abbreviate that on there because, like I say, you are limited to those 10 characters. I'm just going to say OK to that. We go back to customers. And I'm just going to double click on that top one again. Back to defaults. And we can see now Analysis 2 is now renamed to Account Manager on there. So it might be that you've got several sort of accounts on here that you need to change that are going to be used by a different account manager. And we can fill that in here. So what we'll do is, first of all, we'll close out of here. We'll add a column in to show the account manager. I'm going to right click along the top. Down at the bottom, we can see Analysis 2 is now Account Manager. And we can see here, we've got some that don't have account managers assigned to them. So we know which ones we're wanting to have a look at. So it might be that I want to highlight these ones here that I know need to have a new account manager. I can click on Batch Changes at the top. I can then go to Defaults on the left-hand side. And I can now pop in here and say, right, Sue is now going to be the account manager for these particular customers. And I'm going to click Save. It'll bring that message up just to say that I've chosen to make changes to multiple records. Do I want to save that? Yes, I do. Now we can see it's been populated. We've got Sue is the account manager for these particular customers. So then if I want to just run a report and say, right, Sue, these are going to be your customers on here, we can apply a filter for that. So if I click on Filter at the top, we'll clear that, and then we're going to use the drop-down box and use Where. And if I just hit A on my keyboard, it brings it straight up on there. It's the first one. So Where Account Manager, and then I want to say is equal to. I'm going to put Sue in here, click Apply to that, and close, and we've just got a list of Sues. And then you could send that, give a customer list just by clicking on Reports again at the top. Customer list, preview that. And then Sue's got a list of her customers that she's the account manager for. So it's not user specific, so the fields are changed for everybody on there, but it is company specific. So if you went in and you made changes on there, like I say, it's something that's company specific on there, but it's not user specific. So everybody would be able to see those analysis fields being changed on there. But what you could do is have a play around with it in the demonstration data. If you think I want to apply some on there, but you want to sort of test it out somewhere else first of all, you can have a go in the demonstration data. So your demonstration data, if you click on File in the very top left-hand corner and go to Open, and if you select Open Demo Data, again the window, just to say it's going to close any other windows, say OK to that. It'll log me out of my account on there, and what it'll do is it'll pop me into, say along there, Stationery and Computer Mart UK. And what that is, it's just a demonstration set of data that you can have a play around with. It's not your data, it's just on your PC there. You can have a go at sort of applying those custom fields just within this set of data. You'll see a lot of the information on there is quite similar to the information I was just using, but you can have a play around with it just in here. So you're outside of your live data if you wanted to do that. But I'll pop back to my slides. So as we've looked at, to rename the custom fields, you would access the settings just at the top of your Sage 50 accounts screen, and then you're going to go to configuration, and then the custom fields to change the name of the field labels within the customers and the suppliers, quotations, sales orders and purchase orders and departments. These are all set by analysis, either 1 to 3 or 1 to 6, just depending on the module there. And as I showed you in the demonstration there, your projects and your products tab, those hold the analysis fields for both of the projects and the products there as well, if you do want to look at customizing those two. But as promised, I have included the useful links here, which include links on our Help Centre, which is full of great articles, just step-by-step guides around using Sage 50 accounts. There is a useful guide on there how to amend those custom fields and add them to your records there as well. So those have got the step-by-step instructions in there too. And you can also access our upcoming webinars and sign up for them, along with viewing all of our previous recordings on the Help Centre as well. So I've also included a link to the Help Centre on our Sage University, where you can enrol on courses and just be tested on your knowledge, which you'll receive a digital badge for. You can share it on things like LinkedIn as well. You can access our webinars page at sage.co.uk/webinars. So all the past recordings are free to view on here, along with sign up for our upcoming webinars on there. The link's just on the slide there as well. Currently, we're running a badge series of webinars for our report designer, covering 7 topics on there as well. So those are running throughout October. And that's just to introduce you to the workings and functionality around the report design within Sage 50 accounts. But there's lots of other webinars that are coming up on there as well. So it is worth having a look at just to see what you can get registered onto. If you do have any further questions, I'll keep this open just for a little bit longer, just to see if anything else comes through. Don't forget as well, you will get a copy of today's recording as well via email. So you'll get that about an hour after the session ends there. And just to download those slides as well if you want to. Just they do have those handy links on them, and they're not available once the recording finishes there. While we're finishing answering those questions, just a reminder that we have our one-to-one bespoke training sessions as well. So these are block-hour sessions, which are over Teams with one of our trainers who can provide training and answer your questions around how you want to use your software. So it might be that you want to just make sure that you're getting the most out of it, or you might have new starters who are starting as well, and you just want to get them up to speed on using the software. But if it does sound something that might be find useful for yourself on there, if you pop an email just along to the email address shown on the slide, and then we can get back in touch with you just with more information. So it's just that email address, lsenablement1@365sage.net. And then what we can do is pop an email back to you there about that. But that does bring us to the end of today's session around custom fields. So don't forget, you will receive a survey when leaving today's session, which I'd love it if you could fill it in with any feedback or comments around what you'd like to see in a webinar, perhaps. You'd also, like I say, you get a copy of today's webinar via email as well. But I do hope it's been helpful and you've taken something away from that today. But thank you for attending, and have a lovely rest of your day.